Welcome to CrystalViewer 11. In this tutorial, we'll learn how to display an index of structure names or chemical formulae and how to search using different criteria. Let's get started by looking at the sidebar. Now, by default, the sidebar shows the contents of the library in terms of a folder hierarchy. And we saw how to navigate this in an earlier tutorial. But we also have the option of showing an index, and we can choose which index to display using the sidebar button in the window toolbar. Let's display an index of structure names, and we can see all of the structures in our library shown by name. Maybe we want an index of mineral names, and here we have all of the minerals in our library. This list is sorted alphabetically, and we can scroll down. We can select a structure by clicking on its entry in the list, and we can see its crystal structure on the right hand side. Now, once we've selected an item, we can start typing the name of another structure to quickly navigate to that. I'm interested in the mineral leucite, so I'm going to start typing Leuci, and there is the crystal structure of leucite. Now we can also show an index of chemical formulae. We'll go back to the sidebar button in the toolbar and index of chemical formulae. Now, these formulae show element symbols sorted using the standard Hall notation, although for minerals the formulae are rather complex. Now, notice that isomers and polymorphs are grouped and are represented by disclosure triangles. So down here we have under AgI silver iodide, we actually have two polymorphs of silver iodide, two minerals. And we can open up the disclosure to see those listed below, and similarly for silver sulfide. Now, the toolbar contains a search field, and that's available when you're looking at the browser, and it's available in the top right hand corner of the toolbar. Now, here on macOS Big Sur, the icons take up a bit more space, and sometimes the search field will be collapsed and will be represented by a single icon. So I can click the search icon and display a search field. Now, here we're in our default auto search command, and I can simply type something and see the corresponding structures. So I'm going to have a look for feldspar minerals. I start typing feldspar, and you can see the search results in terms of files and folders below. Now, the program's found a total of 19 items. Not all of these are feldspar minerals. Some of them, such as danbarite, is a feldspar related mineral, and the programs pick that up. If I select this and show the info inspector, you can see that the notes say that it's similar to the feldspar framework. So in this general or auto search mode, you may get more results than you intend. But we can make the search a little bit more specific using this scope bar that appears underneath the search bar. Now, the scope bar lets you specify, first of all, where to search, and you can see that we can search everywhere: user files, the reference library, or the current folder, which we set to gallery. You can also choose whether to search for crystals or molecules or both, and you can search what sort of content. So we're currently in auto mode. We can switch that back to searching by name. So these are all the items in the library that include the name feldspar, or we can search by note. These are all the structures that contain the word feldspar in the notes. We can search by keywords, and we can also search by chemical formula. Now, let's go back to our auto mode for the moment. And let's say that we're interested in magnesium silicate. Now in this default auto mode, I can start typing a formula and the program will show any matches. So I'm going to type a formula, Mg2, well that's only magnesium, SiO4. So here we get the polymorphs of Mg2SiO4. We have ringwoodite, which is a spinel mineral, forsterite, which is an olivine mineral, and wadsleyite, which is a densely packed structure. Now this was a specific formula search, but we can do a more general search by going back down to the scope bar, and we can use one of these pop-up items. I can search for elements. Any structure whose chemical formula contains one of the elements we've just typed, magnesium, silicon, and oxygen, will appear here, and there's an awful lot of structures that contain magnesium, silicon, and oxygen. Now if I just want structures whose formulae contain only magnesium, silicon, and oxygen, then I can click on the little elements pop-up and choose only show me structures whose elements match my input. So now we have 10 structures that just contain magnesium, silicon, oxygen. And by the way, if you open up the little info inspector, it clarifies what we're searching for, showing 10 crystals or molecules in the reference library that are composed entirely out of Mg, Si, and oxygen. And then of course you've got the option of the exact formula match, which is the same as what you get if you type a recognizable chemical formula whilst in auto mode. Now notice that the chemical symbols have to be in the correct case. M, capital M, lowercase g, capital S, lowercase I, and so on. They have to be recognizable symbols in your formula match. Of course, we can be a bit more sloppy. I can do Mg2 SiO4 and the program will still find it. But if you're going to concatenate everything together, then there's the potential for some ambiguity. So you have to use the correct case. So that was a quick summary of how to search and index structures in CrystalViewer.